So tonight was the first night of comp training. Just wanted to share a few thoughts that I thought were really helpful and really opened my eyes. Um, First off, we didn't do no live rounds, which I was surprised by because it's what it's all about, you know. Been doing live rounds like every practice, every training session since I started about. But tonight we just started off with light takedowns, guard pulls, just get warm, 10 minutes. That was really nice just to get to work on them in like a slow, controlled pace. It's like, I can't believe that we I haven't done this before. Because it was awesome. It was great training, great to just get to practice for, I think, everybody involved. The mat was full, which was awesome. But then we worked on a little guard passing, which was really nice. It's kind of a guard pass that I already use. But, I mean, and then we kind of we split up into like weight categories, like a light, middle, and heavy. I'm probably right in between middle and heavy, so I went with the lighter guys since there's only a few in that group. But it was seated guard, open guard, start an open guard, and if you got past, it was over, and they were the new king of the hill. It was king of the hill. Or if they swept, they stayed. Or if you passed and held position for a pass, then you were the new king. And we went through that, and just the intensity of that alone, like you can just tell, since we're in quotes comp training now, like just a different level of intensity. And honestly, I love it. I loved it. It's like ever since I got my blue belt, I feel like I've been progressing, but also, you know, how there's just times where you need guidance or need the next step. It's like, I'm no expert at this. I do a lot of research and try to do the most learning that I can, but there's definitely holes in things that I don't think about. Like, for instance, we did at the end, we did first point wins, right? So you start from standing just like the beginning of a jiu-jitsu match, and first takedown or guard pass wins. And it was awesome, but it just showed me how I haven't been thinking in the way of sport. And I also watch, got a shout out to the Combat Base podcast. I like listening to them a lot. Chris Howder talks about the Think Street, Train Sport, Practice Art triangle. And I would say that I definitely like to practice art. I like to practice the art, and I would say I am definitely kind of in a train street mode, because I like to think that part of the whole reason that I started training jiu-jitsu was for the goal of MMA, for the purposes of learning a grappling art to take over into mixed martial arts. So, but the sport part is something that I've missed, but it's got some really important pieces to it that will add to the mindset of both of the others. Like, it reminds me of my first tournament when I went down there. It's like I hadn't had barely any coaching on points, definitely none on strategy. Like, I was just going to go out there and sub people. I wasn't thinking about points at all. Like, the first match that I had points, it was like I was just trying to check the guy out, and pretty soon I was like up like 14-0. But anyway, like, that's beside the points. Like, the points weren't what were important to me, and I didn't realize the strategy behind scoring points. And like, that's something that I definitely need to look into, because tonight when we did first to score wins, it's just made me think about like getting a takedown, and just in training sometimes like somebody may, like, they do pretty good and they basically get the takedown on you, but if you were really focused and just not allowing it, like, I basically just gave up a takedown and like pulled guard. But in sports sense, that's 2 points for your opponent. So that's where it's like, ooh, there's a hole there. You know what I'm saying? I was a little disappointed in myself for not realizing that, and I was like embarrassed. It's like silly, like just that thought. Because in a regular role, it's like, yeah, they pretty much got the takedown. You're not gonna fight super hard at that. Like, yeah, you got it, sure. And it's like, how much am I doing that in other parts of my game that I definitely shouldn't be doing that, you know? Or where are those parts of the game where maybe you just concede when it's like in a sport context that's points and points and points, like fighting to stay out of a side control, just fighting there's just certain points where you would fight harder knowing that there's points to be earned. Like, sometimes, like, I don't feel like fighting super hard if somebody's about to pass the guard, because it's like, okay, they pass, but I still don't feel in danger of being subbed, you know? And maybe that's where I draw, like, I'm thinking in more of like a sub-only mindset, which, sure, different rules for different tournaments, but I just I liked that feeling, honestly, like the feeling of not knowing and the feeling of learning something. It's like, awesome, there's more to learn. And of course there always is, but sometimes you just need to be shown what it is that you actually need to learn and what's important to help you progress in different ways, just in different ways of thinking, and that you can take that into your strategy kind of all around. So, but it went really well. I got some King of the Hill points. I was out there for a bit, and yeah, I had some good tussles in the score first game, which I thought was really fun. And yeah, I mean, just the intensity alone of those games were very high. Like, you could tell the difference. Like, that's one thing I remember from my first comp, is like just blew out my arms. Like, my grips after the matches, even in no-gi, I was just like, my arms felt like they were gonna explode, you know? And just, I can tell tonight, just by my grips, that I was definitely over gripping, or gripping super hard. And I mean, it's just, I'm glad to have that, because it's like, if you don't train to be in that mindset, you're gonna go in there and, I mean, yeah, maybe you'll do fine, but we're trying to be the best we can when we go in there, you know? So definitely need to stay relaxed and be more conscious of these certain points in grappling exchanges, like where maybe fight harder, or don't give it up completely just because they got 3/4 of the way there, you know? So yeah, but overall, like, had a great experience, first camp, and great training partners there. It would have been nice to be able to roll with all those awesome training partners there, but I'm not saying I'm not pleased with what happened tonight. It was a great experience, new to me, and I'm sure new to a lot of people there, but I love the fact that it took us all into a new mindset, and a little more competitive mindset, cheering each other on, like giving that feel like it's game time, because I think that's what people who like to compete, they crave it, you know? It's something I grew up with my whole life, so that was really awesome. But just wanted to recap that. So, peace.